This week in Archery 101, we're going to talk about the 3 lines of archery. Alright everybody, welcome to Archery 101, Greg here. Alright, this week we're going to cover a concept that has the potential to do many wonderful things, positive things, for your consistency, accuracy, and enjoyment of archery. The goal of this video is to give you a basic understanding of the concept and allow you to work with it so you can improve your archery game. Alright everybody, what are the 3 lines of archery? Well, first 2 lines we're going to cover are actually the same one, just looked at from 2 different perspectives. These 2 lines pertain to something called the line of force. You probably heard of this used in a different way. Olympic archers and a lot of people that have done their training call it the line of fire. This concept applies to all bows, long bows, recurves, compound bows. It's really important because it affects your repeatability, it affects your accuracy, and it affects how the forces are applied into the arrow, and it just multiplies and it just keeps on going. All right, this system's backed up by scientific studies on biomechanics and has been proven in the highest levels of archery. So it's something we should know and something we can adapt to our training as traditional archers so we can become better. All right, now let's look at the first one. All right, everybody, the first thing that we're going to look at is the overhead, and I'm going to do 3 different ones. I'm going to do proper back tension and 2 within proper. 1 is not fully engaged and 1 is overly engaged. We're going to try to show you the differences of them so you can understand the line of force. Now, before we go on to that, let me give you a quick visual representation of what the line of force is. Now, you see that picture of me here at full draw. Well, what I'm going to do is, as you can see now, a line starts going through. This line would start at the point of the arrow, run through the shaft. It's going to cross over my bow hand, run down the shaft of the arrow, out through the nock, into my draw hand, through the wrist, through my forearm, and out the elbow. That is the line of force. That's where all the energy is. It's going in a straight line. Pulling back, it stays in line with the arrow. And this is important because if you get the wrong angle, you're actually putting stress on your arrow to the left or right. The arrow isn't relaxed. It's got external forces pushing on it left or right. And I've seen this while shooting. When I see people shoot, I can actually see the arrow flexing a little bit from that little bit more extra pressure they're doing on it. So this picture here, this is the proper line of force. Nice straight line going from the elbow to the point of the arrow. Now this one here looks very similar to it, and it is really close, but this is without full and proper back tension. So let's do the line again. As you can see, the line starts from the point, runs over my hand, runs down the shaft just like before, goes out the nock, but then it changes. It doesn't go through my hand in the same spot, clips the wrist, but look where it's at on my forearm. It's on the inside of it, then it runs in and out, but not through the elbow. So what this is doing, the energy is at a slight angle outward and not in line. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means you can have an inconsistent draw length. Your back's not engaged, so you're using arm and hand muscles to draw and hold the arrow, which can induce plucking, pulling of the arrow, and all other stuff. I know many people that shoot like this, and they shoot pretty darn good, so this one isn't that bad, but it isn't the most efficient for you. All right, everybody, here's our third example. Now you can see this one's very similar to the other one. These are very little changes. Once again, energy from the point. You can see it working its way back. You notice in this picture, the energy is in line with the top of the limb and the bottom of the limb. The other 2 were slightly canted. runs through the arrow, into my hand, perfectly through the wrist, but then look what happens. It bleeds out and goes out before the elbow. This is a classic case of overusing your back and pinching your shoulder blades. When you do that, your elbows don't go in a straight line out, they rotate backwards. And this one here is great because it'll give you the same anchor point, but it's a real big player in plucking. All right, everybody, now that we've seen the overhead, the next way to look at your line of force is from this side, right? So here I am, full draw, got my anchor, looking down my arrow, my pressure's in my hand, everything looks good, right? Now let's do that line of force. You can see it starting from the point, runs over the webbing of my hand, straight through the arrow, into my index finger, because I'm shooting 3 under, through my wrist and out the elbow. Nice straight line. So on the 2 axes, I have energy going back from the side and back from the top. What I'd like to talk to next, now that we know what the side view looks like, is consistency with it. And this is a great way to check how you're doing. If you can set up a camera, if you film it, you just grab a frame. But you shoot 3 arrows, and that's what I did here. You can see the first one like we did before. You notice it's right there. The line is perfect. Notice where the line is exiting my elbow, right? See where that line is? So my second arrow, which is different because you can tell from the pink fletching, look at the line, almost exactly the same, right? That's what we're always talking about, a repeatable shot cycle. I'm getting the same line of force. Third arrow, back to the white. Boom, almost identical. That's what you want. But I got a nice line. It runs from the point out through my elbow. Nice, beautiful line. Now, the next ones I'm going to show you is a high and low elbow. And I'll tell you about the different things that they can cause in your shooting. Next one we're going to cover is the high elbow, which you always hear people talk about, and I see a lot of people do. And that's because they're, I think, maybe over worrying about the pressure on their fingers, trying to get it just right. But you can see here, not bad, in line, but definitely the elbow looks high, right? So let's put our line on there. Boom. See, it runs through the hand, into the index finger, just like it did before, but it goes out through the back of the elbow. And you know what? What does that do? Well, 1, it changes the pressure on your fingers. 2, it puts additional stress on your shoulders, and you have to draw more using your arm than with your back. And that extra stress can transfer up into your neck. So if you're feeling your neck getting tired, that's because your shoulders are up and you're squeezing up in that area. So here we are, second arrow, right? Boom, same thing. You know what I'm pretty happy about is I'm consistent even when I have high. So my form's looking good, right? There it is. See that high anchor? Or sorry, high elbow? That's where it's coming out. Third arrow, same thing. You can see it's slightly lower than the last one, but not much. It's still way too high. And I find when I shoot, get my elbow up high, I usually shoot a little bit low. Now that's just me. I don't know if it's you, but that's what I find. But look at it. If you're running that energy, see the energy go back, 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 and then it would curl up. And that is not a good, efficient use of energy. All right, the final one is a low elbow, and this is caused by people trying too hard to keep their shoulders down and keep everything down, which they always tell you to do, but like anything else, there's the good and the bad of it. If you do it too much, it's a bad thing. So here I am. It looks pretty good, right? It actually looks like a really solid shot cycle. Let's put our line through it, and you can see it's not bad, but just a little bit of that elbow is down below it. Now, this one here is much better than the high elbow, right? Because the angle's off just by a little bit. So it's not bad. So let's check the second arrow. Oh, a little bit more. See, that's the problem when you get that, trying to get that elbow down or shoulder down. That elbow, the angle that it's at changes over and over. But look at this one here. Look at how my forearm goes back to a certain point, and all of a sudden it drops off like a 45. That's not a straight line. All right, third shot, right there, slightly above. So when I do these low ones, for me, they feel really nice, I have to say, because it feels like all the energy is down into you. But it really plays havoc on my release, and I tend to shoot just a little bit high. All right, so there's your line of force. I got examples of from the top of a regular, underdrawn, overdrawn. From the side of a regular, a high, and a low. Putting them all together, that's the key. Hey everybody, for the third line, come out here to the range. The first two I showed you, I had to do it that way because I wanted to show you using the lines and all that, and stills were the best way. I'm not a fan of that, but I had to do it. But out here we can talk about it. This high elbow thing, you'll see a lot of people shoot that, and they shoot fine with it. So is it an absolute law? No, it's not. But if you notice what they're shooting is a bare bow rig in which they can adjust things. When you have these, we don't have that luxury, right? So this becomes a little more critical. Can you still do it? Yes, you can. Look, you can shoot really well if you use the 3 out of the 3. You can shoot really well if you use the 2 out of the 3. But I don't think you can shoot well consistently, there's the key word, using 1 out of 3, right? So, what's the third line? Your shoulders. The third line, you must have your shoulders in line with each other and pointing at the target. And I'm going to come up here and shoot in a minute, and I'm going to show you all the different ways that it does, it doesn't, and things that can affect that. And I find with me, sometimes I get lazy and I don't get my shoulders. You can see they're actually over here. So when I shoot, that's what contributes to the collapsing arm. And it changes my draw length, all right? So let me get my arrows, which I left down there, and then we'll start in the next section. All right, everybody, here we are. I'm Kavat, not a target archer, not a competitive archer. I'm a recreation archer. But I do shoot the targets to work on my form to build my consistency. I'm a big believer in that. All right, so I'm going to shoot an arrow, try to get everything right, and let's see how we do. It's a 450 face, 18 meters. Nice one in the yellow. Body's aligned. I felt it. I can actually feel the rotation. I can feel the shoulders being in line. Now, let's try another arrow. This time I'm not going to get my shoulders in line. Can you shoot well without your shoulders in line? Yeah, I've seen people do it. Okay? But when you're looking at why you're not shooting consistent, one of the things you need to look at. So, if you see here, my shoulders are in line here. Right? Then I draw, I rotate, they're in line now. I'm going to keep them at this because I do this from time to time. I get lazy, I don't think, and I just draw them. Still drawing with my back. And you can see, I'll bring you up, I shot low, all right? So I'm going to stop the camera, take it down, and I'll show you. All right, everybody, here we are. First arrow, shoulders in line. Second arrow, look how much it dropped to the right. Now you're saying that might be a one-off. No, I know when I shoot low and to the left, it's because my shoulders weren't in line. I'm not getting the full draw check. I used the feather touching my nose, and I got that. But that little bit there adds a little bit more tension. It may not change the draw length a lot, but it definitely has an effect on it. So third line, shoulders in line with the target. All right, everybody, we talked about it. I showed you the lines. I told you what some cause and effects can be. But doing it, how do you do it, right? That's the biggest thing. You got to learn the feeling. When I'm at full draw and I got my elbow right, the energy is just like that arrow. It goes through my arm and out the back. I can actually feel, for some reason, it feels like something's going out my elbow. There's times when it's not, and it shows. So play with it, be mindful of it. And for me, I hit like this neutral feeling. When I do it right, there is zero effort. Holding the bow, releasing the bow, aiming, all that good. It's just, it's natural. All right? See if I can pull it off. Hardest thing is to talk and shoot. Right in the yellow. See? Beautiful shot. All right? That's how it's done. I'm there. I got to here, I got my shoulders in a line. See that? That's what causes that. A lot of times your hips. You relax your hips, but boom, get that nice alignment. Everything is beautifully in line. It is simply incredible. All right, boys and girls, something for you to play with. Try to learn your 3 lines. Focus on them. Work on them. See how they feel for you. And I'm telling you, if you get them and you think about them, you will shoot a lot better. See if I can hit that black hole. On the bottom of it. All right? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time with an all-new episode of Archery 101. Now work those 3 lines. Let's see. See if I can get in that hole this time. I clipped it. I don't want to clip it. I want in it. That was better.